All right, let's see if I can get today's question done. It says, why do I feel worse after using an infrared sauna? I've had tons of... Most of the time, I mean, you didn't indicate if you were using binders or anything like that. When I was selling saunas maybe a year ago, like when I was in the height of it, I talked to over 1,000 people. Like I had 600 or 700 people documented on my sheet, right? All the conversations on top of that I had, just helping people with general stuff and detox and picking out saunas. There was a common theme among them. One of those was people that have compromised detox pathways or have heavy metals or have different types of toxicity, whether it be pesticides. I don't know how to preface this. I'll give you an example. When I first went to the functional medicine doctor and she asked me about my heritage and stuff, and when we got to the part about my grandmother having a plant nursery, basically my whole life, and I used to go there and play in the plant beds and all this kind of stuff, she asked me if there was, if they ever dealt with fertilizers. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, it's a retail place. They sell plants. There's a warehouse in the back with bags of fertilizers that I used to climb all over because I like the pallet shelving that they used to put them up there, with the forklift. And so I'd climb up there and rearrange the bags and make, forts and do all kinds of stuff. Long story short, once she explained to me how certain detox pathways, or if this is beyond my comprehension, but, and I'll probably say this the wrong way, but just to give you an idea, even if I say this the wrong way, go and research it and figure out the exact chain that affects each other. But let's just say, for example, you have high mercury or high aluminum. You've got some sort of metals in your body. However that interacts with your detox system, if you have high toxicity of a certain type of pesticides, one sort of shuts off the other as far as getting rid of it, or can cause complications with that. So then you have this vicious cycle and your health isn't improving even though you're doing all this stuff. At least that's the way that I understand a lot of these. I've watched a lot of these 3-hour lectures on YouTube. I try to take notes, I rewatch them, and da-da-da-da-da. I'm much better now because I don't have the brain fog. I'm not fatigued like I used to be, but man, at my worst, it was pretty difficult to comprehend these things. So long story short, the common theme that I've seen from researching that stuff and from all the people that I talked to last year, helping them with saunas and detox and all that stuff, is that if you have a leaky gut, if you're not using intestinal binders with your sauna sessions, you are most likely stirring up, like a bee's nest, and you're not able to run away fast enough. And so what that means is two things are probably happening. This is unique to everyone's situation. It might be metals, it might be pesticides, it might be some other type of inorganic compound, or whatever it is. It's unique to your individual situation, but you're going in a sauna, you're probably taking other things like cilantro oil or other stuff that can, we won't even call them chelators. We'll just say you're stirring things up, right? The way that the body deals with things that it can't deal with is to store them away. And so when you start doing some of these things, they come out of hiding, or they come out of storage, right? And so they begin circulating. And so the job of the body is to filter them out through the organs the best it can, excrete them the best that it can, and do all this stuff. The trouble with that is, if you already have stressed organs like I did, if your kidneys aren't working well, if your liver enzymes are really high, or your liver is stressed, all these things, if you have leaky gut, most likely things are being picked up or, dragged out of hiding, so to say, when you do all this stirring up. And you're not latching onto them so that the body can take care of them and excrete them. And so if your gut wall is permeable, that can cause a redistribution, or you'll have redistribution or recirculation symptoms, as I like to call it. Basically, you go in a sauna and you feel like shit because the body was intelligently storing stuff away, and now you're trying to get rid of it, but it's not ready yet. The best way to deal with that, this is a long-winded way to answer it, but I want you to have the backstory, because literally hundreds of people that I have personally spoken to have had a huge difference in using a sauna just on its own and using a sauna and combining it with binders. And when I say binders, I have different videos about this. I'm about to make a brand new one because I've tried pretty much every binder that's out there. Most people just do activated charcoal. Some people will do things like chlorella. Other people like bentonite clay. There's all kinds of different things. There's liquid zeolites and all this stuff. What I have found to work consistently better for a large number of people is Enterosgel. I've got another video on YouTube. I think it's titled "The Best Detox Binders for Sauna Use" or for Sauna Detox or something like that. Go find that video because some of these things have really weird names. Enterosgel is from Russia. You won't even be able to read the container, but I guarantee you, I bet my life on it. I use it myself. It is safe. It's probably one of the best. How do I say that? A lot of people have stomach issues or IBS, or they have to be very careful when they take large doses of activated charcoal or things like that so they don't get constipated or it doesn't cause other issues. Enterosgel is very mild compared to that. You can take a lot of that stuff and it won't negatively affect you. Just drink the appropriate amount of water that it says on the instructions. Usually it's a teaspoon or a tablespoon with an 8-ounce glass of water. Now for me, I personally just don't like the texture of it, so I'll squeeze out. It comes in a tube, and it's not clear, but it has like a clear white look to it, and I'll squeeze out a tablespoon, put it in my mouth, and I'll just drink the glass of water. It sort of dissolves. It's like a gel substance, but basically what it does is it latches onto things in the gut. You would want to take it. Some people freak out about timing the binders perfectly with sauna sessions and yada yada yada. As a general rule, you don't eat within 2 hours of doing your sauna session. And so what I like to do is make sure that I'm adequately hydrated throughout the day. I don't eat 2 to 3 hours before my sauna session. If I do, it's something like fruit or something like that, nothing heavy. And then right before the sauna session or while the sauna is preheating and I'm making my water and taking electrolytes and blah, 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 which may or may not be counterintuitive. If you take electrolytes with activated charcoal and it's like a little powder form, it's probably going to suck some of it up. But anyway, I'll take the Enterosgel and then I'll go do my sauna session. Some people are religious about taking a binder before the sauna session and after. If this was 2 years ago when I was feeling at my worst, I would probably do that too. But as a general rule, here's the difference that people experience. And this isn't just me. I'm pulling from all the hundreds of people that I've spoken with. As a general rule, they'll get a sauna, they'll start using it. Sometimes they can have headaches. Sometimes they can just feel really fatigued. Sometimes it's the next day, all kinds of different symptoms and things like that. Brain fog or just feel like somebody whacked them upside the head. That's a lot of the experience with using a sauna without binders. Now, when they do turn to using binders, they feel much better. They don't have those symptoms. They come out of the sauna, they might be a little bit tired because you just sweat your ass off for, half hour, however long it was. But it's not the same, it's just drastically different. And so what's happening is it's kind of creating a buffer. You should obviously be changing your diet if your gut wall is permeable or you have leaky gut. You should obviously be, doing everything that you can to help yourself. But in the meantime, if you take a substance that can line or at least drag along the bottom, like a fishing lure. When somebody does bottom fishing and they drag a lure across the bottom of the lake or the ocean or whatever to try to get bottom feeding fish. It's kind of like that. If you can have a substance in there that can sort of latch on to the bad stuff so that even if you do have leaky gut, it's going to try its best to get some of it and pull it out. That can really help people. And so that's kind of that's the way that I think about it. That's not a scientific way. I'm not a doctor, can't give medical advice, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. But when I should also tell you that after using saunas for over a year, I can sauna with or without binders now with no ill effects. It doesn't make a difference. So in hindsight, my best guess as to why that is that in the very beginning, I had never done any kind of detox before. I had just had the mercury amalgam fillings removed. I was dealing with other fatigue and adrenal issues. I was also flared. My body was just a wreck. I had eczema all over my knuckles and my hands. The backs of my knees were itching and flaking all the time. I obviously had this chronic inflammation. Was having issues with some of my joints from a knee injury. All these things, fatigue and brain fog and anxiety and blah, blah, blah. It's not like that now. So now, whether I take a binder or not, I have a good sauna session. I feel good. And so what I think happens is that when people first start using the saunas, probably for the first 6 months or so, you're giving your body the ability to get rid of stuff that previously would only occur if you went to the beach and ran on the beach every morning or something. So there's an initial front load dump of, I guess you could say, toxins or whatever, but really the sauna is just creating the conditions for you to have a profuse sweat and also absorb the far infrared rays to mimic or create the right condition. Or I think of it like a greenhouse. You know how a greenhouse creates homeostasis for the plants, regardless of if it's raining outside or if it's cold or hot or whatever, can maintain temperature and optimal, growing, blah, blah, all this stuff. That's kind of like what the sauna is doing. The sauna is your greenhouse for detoxing pesticides, and you can actually sweat out pesticides a lot better and faster than you can metals. Sometimes certain metals can take a long time, which is a good thing in a way because, like I said in the beginning of this video, you don't want to overload the body. That's how people get into trouble. You don't want to overload the body with detox stuff. People try to do too much, too fast, and it just goes downhill because you're overloading the organs. They can only process so much. You need to give them a break, or you're going to be your body is going to be stressed. You won't figure it out up here, but the rest of you is just going to be like freaking out. Like, what are you doing to me? You're trying to kill me? And so the result of that can manifest itself in a myriad of different ways. But I don't know where I was going with that. I think what I was just trying to say is when people first start using saunas, especially infrared saunas or any kind of sauna, it's very important to use binders, I think. That's my opinion. And so if you feel worse after using an infrared sauna, most likely one of two things is happening. You need to use binders, or you're in a shit high EMF sauna and it's giving you a headache because some of the older saunas have 150 milligauss magnetic fields right at your head. And so if you're not used to that or you can't tolerate that, that can definitely do it. But most of the time, I would say 7 times out of 10 people that I've talked to, people that I've worked with, just starting to take Enterosgel or a few of the other binders that I talk about in the other videos remedies that. And they have, it might not be overnight. It just, the next session might not be as bad. Give your body a chance to catch up. I mean, it's years and years and years of Roundup exposure, inorganic foods, processed stuff, heavy metals, whether it's from deodorants or pots and pans or just in the air, or from your own teeth like I had or whatever. It's years and years and years of buildup. So just because you take a binder once, it's probably going to take a week or two. You want to take the Enterosgel or another binder that I recommend, every time you sauna. And so that will be cumulative and it'll get better and better and better. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, or I misspoke on, sometimes when I edit the videos and I upload them and I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, why did I say that? Or I should have said that. But then if I cut it out, the rest of the video doesn't make sense. So I usually just leave it. But if I made a mistake, didn't answer one of your questions, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great day, guys.